Hi, everyone. Welcome to another installment of our Female Founder series. Today, I'm here with a really exciting guest. I'm here with Sue Carey, who is the Vice President of Corporate Relocation Strategies for Baird and Warner. Thank you so much for being here, Sue.
Well, thank you. I appreciate the invitation. Hello from Chicago.
One of my favorite cities. Haven't been there in a little while. Hopefully, it won't be too long before we can go back. But so I hope you've got your deep dish, you're all ready to go.
Yes, yes, there might be some pizza in my refrigerator, I will admit.
Love it. Well, firstly, I just wanted to say before we dive in, I mean, you just mentioned when we were getting started. So, Baird Warner is celebrating 165 years this year, which is just amazing. So, congratulations on that, first and foremost.
It is an incredible achievement. I think we might be tied for the oldest brokerage in the country, along with one other, or maybe just eking a little bit ahead. But it's really an amazing achievement. And to remain independent for 165 years is equally exciting.
I love it. And it's so well known, the brand itself. And you also have, are quite well connected in the industry. You are just seen as this amazing leader. So I'm really excited to get into a little bit of sort of advice and wisdom that you can share later on. But first, I'm hoping you can share a little about, your background and how you got to where you are today.
Well, my start was interesting in that I had really had an opportunity working for an insurance company. And well, it was really an insurance department within a corporate environment, within a pharmaceutical. And there were so many sad stories. There were so many just complaints constantly. And that's just not me. So, knowing who I was, I knew that I had to find an environment that was a little more exciting, a little more positive. I just couldn't take the negativity. Happened to see an advertisement for a position working with the president of then the largest real estate company in Chicago. They're since gone. Baird Warner has taken over that role in the Chicago market. But I took that job with, it was at the time Quinlan and Tyson Real Estate. And what was exciting for me and what drew me to real estate is really the fact that I wished I could have been an architect. If I were to go back, I would have gone to school to be an architect. That's really what my passion was. It just so happened being the oldest child in a family situation prevented me from being able to do that. So I thought, all right, well, real estate, I could see that being of interest to me. And soon after I joined and worked alongside the president, he knew that I probably was going to get bored working just with him, moved me into general sales. And I had an opportunity to become part of their leadership at probably the age of 25, 26, just with this great opportunity that was presented to me by just an incredible leader. And that's what got me into real estate. And I have never regretted it. I've been passionate about it ever since.
Well, that's awesome. I love that. And, a lot of people I think talk about in this industry, people bringing them in, or people sort of spotting the talent or saying, you'd be good at real estate. So it's nice to also hear that you had that sort of passion to begin with. And, it kind of happened. You knew what you didn't want, but then discovering what you do want, and then staying here ever since. I mean, you were mentioning you've really only been with three companies, so seems like you found it.
I absolutely found it. It was that original Quinlan and Tyson Realtors that went through a very difficult time. The early 1980s were not easy in real estate. We had it was a challenging time. So being able to move into the next company, really where I spent 25 years and then helped orchestrate our sale to Baird and Warner, it's been an incredible journey, and it's just been an exciting career to have found.
Well, that's wonderful. And so looking back, I'm sure there's lots of things you could sort of point at as, successes or forks in the road. Maybe you could have gone the other way. What are some of the big things that you wish you knew back then that you now know with the benefit of experience?
Mhm. I think fretting over the small things. So I'm a bit of a perfectionist, which is not necessarily a good thing. It's good for an employer, but as a perfectionist, it's really, really difficult to let go of things. So if things didn't go just as I wanted, and the great part about real estate is your main job, your main focus is really helping other people solve their problems, make their dreams come true, or make things go right. And I'll talk a little bit more about the fact that I found this corporate relocation swim lane within real estate. But when it doesn't go right, not for me, but for the other person, that was really hard. I think I would tell my younger self to, keep everything in perspective. And as long as you're putting your best foot forward, you understand not everything is in your control. That really would be the lesson.
Mhm. That's a great lesson. And I think speaking of hard things, certainly this year has not been easy. And I'm curious if you can talk a little bit about how your business has changed and sort of what challenges, but also what opportunities, and knowing how positive you are, and what opportunities you see right now.
Well, thank you. Absolutely could not have dreamed that I'd be experiencing this in my career. So I've been through a number since I've been in real estate 42 years. I've been through a number of ups and downs in real estate. And because of my focus within corporate relocation, I've also worked with a number of companies that have been through ups and downs as well, as corporations were right sizing and we had mergers and acquisitions and all of that. So it wasn't that I hadn't addressed adversity before, but this was a whole new thing. I've never been in a situation with so many boundaries. And for real estate, I should first say Baird Warner is going to have probably their best year ever. So real estate in general is going really, really well. And the market is hot because everyone's decided there's a different kind of lifestyle or living situation that I want. COVID has certainly given us that opportunity. But there are also many people, for instance, within a corporate relocation, that due to travel bans or immigration bans, or even just corporations trying to take care of their employees the best they can, that things came to a halt. So, what it has caused us to do is to take what we love doing, and that's being one on one with somebody. I mean, I get so much enjoyment, and our agents get so much enjoyment just having people in your car or meeting them at their house and saying, share with me what it is that you'd like, and then making that dream come true. That's awesome. All right, well, now try and do that over a computer screen. That's been the really difficult part. So the good news is that I'm much more tech savvy than I was 7 months ago. I guess that's good news. Um, we've really taken a lot of the great tools that we had and have been able to show and share, because they've always been digital, but we've been able to show and share all these digital tools. And finding a way to connect with somebody is more easily done now if you listen harder, has been what I have found. You're not going to be able to watch body language. You're not going to be able to experience just their feelings, their family dynamics. So you have to just really, really listen. And that's what came out of this year. I think we're better listeners. I think the tools that we're using are going to last longer. They're not going to be out of date. We're just getting better at what we're doing.
Mhm. Well, that's awesome. And congratulations on the amazing year that you've had too. I'm curious also, I mean, your clients are, a lot of these corporations that you're working with, and you're also, an executive within Baird Warner. So your agents are also your clients in a way, and the
They
culture of
are.
the company is part of your job. So, how does that sort of listening apply to fostering and nurturing that culture? And are there other things that you've done to keep your agents happy, or things you're hearing from your agents that they need right now?
That's a great question because some agents have adapted better than others, I would say. And I don't mean to get sexist about this. There aren't a lot of women in leadership roles within real estate, certainly not ownership roles. So when I was an owner, that was particularly unique. And we brought all of those agents, and I'm still very close to them, having had them for 25 years. We brought them all over to Baird Warner. Uh, I think staying close to your agents and just being a better listener, and again, trying to identify what's making them uneasy, to make sure that people know, the agents know that whatever is best for them, you're supporting right now. Not everyone wants to, potentially have clients in their car with or without masks, for instance, and that's okay. So if not that, what can I do for my business during this time? And I think that's really where we've done a great job at Baird and Warner. Everyone's gotten together to really come up with, okay, if I'm not comfortable engaging with people right now, how can I still build my business? What can I do right now to make sure that this time is not lost? And instead, I'm investing in what I can have in the future and what it will be when I am comfortable again. It's not to say that many have completely shut down, because clearly they haven't. The numbers are incredible. But I think that just listening and helping them develop. And to the corporate client, they brought a lot of interesting concerns and issues to us. And those have been extra fun to solve. Because again, we're connecting digitally, and I've had an opportunity to, over my career, build resources and programs for corporations that were specific to problem solving for them. And that has really been probably the most fun that I've had, has been this year, just strategizing, as is evidenced by my title this year. I really just love trying to solve a corporate environment problem, and then bringing our agents along for that ride.
I love that. And I love that you're talking about personalization really too, because, you can still have that level of personalization and strategy even over a Zoom. It's just maybe
Absolutely.
requires a little more intentionality to create. So I know none of us have crystal balls, and I'm curious, really, really solid growth year, 165-year-old company. I mean, you have 42 years of experience. You've done a lot. You've accomplished a lot. Are there things that you want to accomplish in the next 2 to 3 years that you haven't yet, or kind of what's next for you or for Baird and Warner, if anything?
There's absolutely still some things that I would love to accomplish. Yeah, I've stepped back a little more, and rightly so, from the day to day, because we have so many great leaders within relocation, as well as our sales offices that handle that. And really, my goal is to continue to work on additional services that can be provided. Some are being used specifically with corporations, and other tools are being used within our general sales atmosphere. But I think, again, focusing on the corporate relocation, since that's my primary responsibility, a lot of the fun that I have had is through the building of this program called Relocation Decisions. And that's the one that I had founded and really have enjoyed, because it is customizing, with 4 asterisks after it. It's customizing to the need of every individual executive. It's mostly executives, but now, about 4 or 5 years ago, we added on our global population. And so we're working really hard with people all around the world. And I think that while immigration is slowed down right now, the biggest value I can bring to Baird Warner and our corporate clients, and in turn then it certainly trickles to our agents as well, would be to really hone in on those services that will make people feel good about making that move, what their new opportunity is like. Because when you think about how hot the market is, most of the people that are moving right now are moving because they choose to. And in a relocation, that may not be the choice. And when you're moving across the world, in addition to that, and you're just not really sure what that's going to be like, and your children are being uprooted. And I just feel that in this new world, in this new environment, with all the constraints that are on someone to really get integrated into a new community, there's a lot more that the real estate firms can do. And I'm excited about making that happen and building those services, I guess.
Yeah. Well, I love that. And that's kind of taking, what you can do to the next level with sort of being that advisor, being even that Sherpa. I've heard that analogy in the real estate industry and I love it because it's like you're carrying someone on your back with you up a mountain.
It
Be-
is indeed.
be- because you are talking about international, I want to dive in a little bit to um, brand building and really. So you built this amazing company in Chicago, this amazing brand that became part of Baird and Warner, and now you have this global brand really that you've continued to build. And I'm curious to what you attribute that success, and if there's marketing strategies or partnerships that have really fueled that you'd point to.
Uh, Well, I'm excited about that question because actually and this won't be good for marketing firms, but very little of it occurred for the company that I built. The Relocation Decisions was not built due to marketing. It was built due to word of mouth.
Mm.
Every client. And I've had the pleasure of working with quite a few of the major corporations in Chicago and most of their C-suite. And it was all because someone else said, what a great job you did.
Mhm.
So brand building by word of mouth was so much more valuable to me in my career. And I would say Baird Warner Steve Baird would likely say something very similar. Certainly we have phenomenal marketing, but really just building your brand on always doing the right thing, enjoying what you do, uh, showing that you're invested in the person that you're supporting, that you want the best for them. I just think that's really the growth of the business. I would just attribute it to liking what you do and doing the right thing, always.
It sounds so simple the way you put it.
Well,
um, yeah. Well, and you've talked about growth too, and I am curious because doing the right thing and putting the customer first is one thing, and also knowing that you can make money doing that and grow and have enough
yeah,
business for your agents is another
yeah.
thing. So do you have goals that you set for yourself, for your team, and sort of what data or information are you looking at regularly to know whether you're on the right track or not, or how do you approach that?
A lot of that, I am a very numbers person, so I do look at data all the time. And in fact, I'd be the first one to raise my hand if somebody wants a statistical report. I would love to do that. It's really sort of a sick thing. But my husband drives him really crazy. However, really, it's just listening to what those needs are. And I think I get great enjoyment um, pulling in what I'm hearing and thinking about what it is I might be able to develop that would respond to what that need is. And I would say too, in my career, I've been very open and eager to attend webinars, seminars, read blogs, watch videos, whatever it might be, for something that I don't know a lot about yet. And for instance, and this is also going to sound really boring, but I might go to a relocation conference back when we were all meeting in, big groups of thousands of people. I would go to Worldwide Employee Relocation Council or Relocation Directors Council, two organizations I'm passionate about. I just received a lot of value out of both of those. But at Worldwide ERC, they would have a breakout session on immigration law or the taxability of the employee's home sale. All right, not your typical highly drawn to topic, but those attending those would just get the wheels turning. So I would say for people, get out of your comfort zone and really open yourself up to hearing about something that maybe you don't know anything about. And sometimes that just sparks an opportunity to build a new service or build something that no one else is doing. That's really what helped us. That's what helped us move along as we did. In addition to that company I was with for 25 years was a one office firm, 40 agents, We were the small guy with a lot of market share because this is what we did. We just, we never said no. We just said, how can we? And really that helped us.
Well, I love that. Firstly, that I think we're learning you're part architect, part analyst, part general counsel, part you're
Multitasker.
multitasker. Your interests don't end. That's awesome. And that natural curiosity, I think, kind of feeds into, what we were talking about earlier. This year has been hard for some, and you have this optimistic outlook as well, and this desire to learn and do and help others. And so, how have you channeled that, or how do you think that's helped you innovate during, adversity and adverse conditions, and sort of looking back at the challenges again that you've experienced? What would you tell others who are worried about maybe taking a risk, or growing their company during a time like this? I've heard people actually who've gone independent, who've opened their own brokerages. And for people maybe thinking about doing that but who are scared, what would you say?
You never know unless you try. I mean, that's really, it's pretty basic. I think that there are challenges, but you learn from adversity. I can think back just even in one's personal life. I think we can all think back to a time where something just seemed like, how will I ever get over this or get around this? And yet you do. So I think working hard, relying on everyone else. No one can do it alone. That's the other thing. Surround yourself with good people that you trust, that will also help mentor you, that you can use as a sounding board. So don't ever feel like you're in it alone. Just surround yourself with really good people and just try. I know it can be really scary. You talked about somebody going off on their own and going independent. That would be really scary, particularly in today's market. But on the flip side, there's maybe never been a better time because we're all under the same constraints or restraints. We all have to work within the same box right now. So the difference that you're making is even more based on relationship and attitude and services, probably more so than ever before. I think relationships really are shining right now more than they ever have.
That's a great point. And it's interesting because talking about sort of you never know unless you try, and also surround yourself with, you know, people who will support that and encourage that. You've been part of a lot of associations. You've served as president, and you've had different leadership roles. And you mentioned WEC and some of these other associations as well. How early did you sort of figure that out, or did it take you? Is this one of those lessons learned the hard way, that there are some things that really branching out and leaning on others, it's important to do?
Because well, at the first real estate company I was with, I was dropped into a role of leading relocation for this firm, corporate moves, so the corporate mobility of employees. And they just put me into the role after they let someone else go with no training, no nothing. So again, sort of seeking that learning opportunity, I thought, oh, I ought to go to Worldwide ERC, learn, begin to find out what this is all about, what the opportunities are, what we can do better, and really start introducing myself and learn from peers. And thanks to probably two really strong relationships that I had with corporate clients, they started introducing me to other people, and quickly you just sort of got pulled into this association world that ended up being so valuable. It not only created opportunities and introduced new possibilities of services that we could provide, but it gave me a family of people that I could always rely on to this day. And after my retirement, it won't be any different. Um, I just think, again, that taking yourself someplace that maybe you're not 100% comfortable and just seeing what happens, just being open to that is really what those two relationships have done for me. And then look for somebody that's encouraging to you. Again, always look to be surrounded by people with a good attitude and remove yourself from negative.
Yeah, I love that. Well, and so thinking about sort of you mentioned the R word. Some people don't ever want to retire in this business, I think, but it's great that
Nope.
that there is that plan. I'm curious though, before then. So we talked about what's next for Baird Warner and your role. What do you think should be next for the industry? What next best thing are you excited about, or what do you think if you could just say real estate brokers everywhere, focus leadership teams everywhere, focus on this? What would it be?
Hmm. Well, I don't know that I have the complete answer to that, because what's interesting is that things can change very quickly. We've learned that. I do think that real estate, it's always about people, and it's always about a family. So I don't know, other than the delivery of services and how that might change. Our goal is always going to remain the same. And I think that that real estate will always be an experience that can't be replaced fully in a digital world. So we're certainly making do with a lot of tools right now. I'll go back maybe, oh, I don't even know when this was, but quite some time ago. I'll never forget when there were realtors across the country that started launching all these Sunday open houses on television. When real estate, you're probably not remembering this because you're of a different generation, but when real estate first started being shown and the Sunday open houses were shown on television, oh, everybody was up in arms. There won't be a need for realtors. Everything's going to be going to just on TV showings, and there won't be, well, that's just not true. There's always going to be a need for guidance, for helping somebody learn an area. So I think just being a specialist in a marketplace, being being open and available and sharing, and knowing that your personal support, not just your professional advice, but your personal support of someone's move is critical. And that's never going to change. I don't know that I have a crystal ball of what to focus on, other than I think we're going to be so excited when we can be back out and comfortably have people in our car. We won't care if the children are eating gummy bears in the back seat and leaving them. We won't care if the dog has just ripped our, best dress, or whatever the case might be, once we're back in person with people and not able to or not having to wear the masks. I just think it's going to be it's going to become even more personal than it was before.
Yeah, that's a great point. I mean, it's amazing to me because I look at things like Facebook and, it's become this sort of validation tool now, where before people just used it for discovery and kind of mindless scrolling or sharing of information. And now, because we can't connect with each other, we're
Yeah.
going back on and saying, okay, I think I want to work with Sue. What do you think, everyone else? As a replacement for those conversations. And we all
How
know
true.
it's not a sufficient replacement. So
Well,
I
and
love
the
that.
same would hold true of online valuations, for
Mm,
instance. So there's a lot of that. There's certainly a lot of tools that are going to take the tax assessor's information and put a few algorithms around it, and suddenly people feel very confident that they know what the value of their home is. Well, what it doesn't really talk about is the the business that might be closing in that area, or maybe something that's happened with the water, or a highway that's going to be expanded. So there are so many variables that can't be hard and fast statistical rules, that you have to really rely, and you should rely, because it's typically the largest investment someone's going to make, and it's the place that you call home. It's where your family gathers. I think that that's just, it's going to continue to be sort of that, with the support of digital tools.
Well, that's reassuring. I love the positivity that's coming from this conversation. And, I'm curious before we say goodbye, two more questions. Just one is, you kind of alluded to this a little bit, but I'm curious what advice you would give to your younger self today, or maybe someone, who's like you today.
I think to really look at what it is that gives you joy, to make a note of what you really enjoy doing, and then where might you find that. So the things that gave me joy are working with people, having a positive experience, something that they're really going to enjoy, where I can make a difference, where I can feel like my job was not, putting widgets together, but in fact was helping someone's life get better. And so knowing yourself and identifying that, and then seeking people who you might be drawn to. And I think online, for instance, is the best place. So you can go to a number of media outlets and just talk with someone or listen to somebody on a media outlet and just find out, is that somebody I'm drawn to? Do they seem to have some of the same values that I have, the same attitude that I have? I just happened off of a little newspaper ad to find the right person to launch me into that real estate career. But I think maybe now, if you don't want to leave it to happenstance, then I would probably start to seek out people within an industry that I think I could be happy about. And I hope it's real estate. And I hope there are people watching that are interested in real estate here in Chicago, because it's really a joy. It's a joy career. It really is.
Well, I love it. Well, you seem like you'd be a joy to work with. So, one more question, Sue, before we say goodbye. Tell us something that most people don't know about you, something fun just for our audience.
Oh, that people don't know about me. Um, it's with as much as I like engaging with people and whatnot, one of the things that I really look forward to doing when I decide not to work as many hours as I enjoy working now would be quilting. Of all things, quilting. So I don't know how I'm going to pull that analogy together with what I have done, but I really look forward to quilting, which is a non-talking, be by yourself, sit with pieces. I don't know. I guess it's bringing things together, which is what my career's been about, is bringing things together. But I hope to be a quilter. Now, that would surprise most people that know me.
I love it. Still elements of creativity in there, and yes,
I suppose.
nurturing. Uh,
Architecture.
yeah, totally. Well, this has been wonderful, Sue. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much. For those of you who just joined a little later on, this is Sue Carey, Vice President of Corporate Relocation Strategies with Baird Warner Real Estate, and I'm Rachel Allard with Union Street Media. You're watching our Female Founder Series, and stay tuned. Please join us for the next one. Thank
Thank
you
you.
again, Sue.
Thank you, Rachel.
This was wonderful. I really appreciate your time and hope that the rest of the year, I mean, it seems like you're already on the record path, so I wish you continued success.
Well, thank you. It was really nice chatting with you today. I appreciate the opportunity.
Awesome. Well, have a great rest of your day, Sue. Thanks
Thank
again.
you. Nice meeting you.
Bye.